All right, so Unit 4 test, if we look at the test preview, this very first section is kind of 3 in 1. We have degree, end behavior, and zeros. Oops. So, when we look at this first equation, we have 3 times x minus 2 cubed and x plus 1 squared. So for degree, we just need to count our exponents. Okay, the 3 doesn't have an x with it, so we don't have to count that for anything. And then we have our x cubed and x squared. So 3 plus 2, that gives us 5. So our degree there is 5. Okay. Now, end behavior, we need to know if the degree is odd or even, and then the leading coefficient, if that's positive or negative. So we know that our degree is odd, right? It was 5. And the leading coefficient, if we look back, we've got a plus in our second section, the x minus 2, that's a positive. X plus 1, that's a positive. So when we multiply those together, we'll get all positives. So our leading coefficient is going to be positive. So since we're odd, that means we're either going to go like this or like this. Okay? And then our leading coefficient tells us that we're going to do this one, our positive. So negative goes to negative, and positive goes to positive. All right, and then lastly, we need to find our zeros. So all you do is you take each section, set it equal to 0. So we have 3 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, does 3 ever equal 0? No, so that doesn't give us anything. And we can solve these ones. So we get 2 and negative 1. So you can just put those right there. All right, let's look at the proficient levels. So we have 3x to the 4th minus 3x cubed plus 60x squared. So our degree on this one, since everything's already multiplied out, it's not factored like this one we had up here. All we have to do is go look at our highest exponent, right? So that one, our degree is 4. Okay, now if we look at our end behavior, we have our degree is 4, so that's even. Then our leading coefficient, we need to check. And again, this one's multiplied out, so we just look at the 3 out front. Okay, and that is a positive. So since our degree is even, that means we should be going in the same direction. Okay, and since our leading coefficient is positive, we're going to be going up. So both on the left and right side, we're going up to positive infinity. Okay, and then lastly, we need to find our zeros. Now, this one isn't factored yet, so to find the zeros, we do have to factor it. So the first thing I'm going to do is check for a GCF, and I can see we have a GCF of 3x squared. Actually, I'm going to do it over here, 3x squared. And then when I pull that out, I'm left with x squared minus x minus 20. So 3x squared, and then that x squared minus x minus 20. If you do your factoring, your ABC stuff, we need two numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add up to negative 1. So we get negative 5 and 4. All right, so that's our factored form. And now we can set each part equal to 0. So we have 3x squared equals 0, x minus 5 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. So 3x squared, we can divide by 3, take the square root, so we get x equals 0. And if you want to just jump straight to x equals 0, that's fine. So then let's add 5, and then minus 4. So we have 0, 5, and negative 4 for our zeros. All right, last one. So degree, again, this one's factored out, kind of like the first one, so I'm going to count up my exponents. So I have 3 on that x, 1, and 5. So 3 plus 1 plus 5, that gives me 9. Okay, so our our degree is 9, which is odd. And then our leading coefficient, we need to see if it's positive or negative. So first chunk, we have a positive. Second chunk, we have a positive. The third chunk, we have a negative x, so that leading coefficient is negative. So then when we multiply a positive times a negative, we get a negative. So that means our leading coefficient is going to end up being negative. So since we're odd, again, we have the two opposite directions. Okay, this one is positive and this one is our negative, so we're going to use that one. Okay, so on the left side, we go up to positive infinity. On the right side, we go down to negative infinity. All right, and then lastly, we need to find our zeros. So I'm going to take everything, set it equal to 0. Okay, so 4x cubed equals 0. We kind of know, you can do the solving, but we know that's going to be 0. Okay, and then this one I'm going to add 7, divide by 2, so we get 7/2. And lastly, solving for x, I'm just going to add x to both sides, and we get 3 equals x. So we have 0, 7/2, and 3. All right, and that's the first 3 sections.